So, hello everybody. I hope you fueled up with some coffee and some nice sugar. So, for now I would like you to imagine you're starting your job as a product manager at BMW. So, what do you think this is like? Well, I can tell you, this is what my friends picture when I tell them I work at BMW. Of course, they see me driving all those fancy cars and testing the latest models on a racetrack. And there's always this one question I get for sure, which is, Sabrina, can you get us any discounts by any chance? Well, and yeah, I have to admit, I also had part of this imagination before I joined the job. But as you can guess, it didn't even take a week to bring me right down back to earth. And I still remember that moment during my first week when my colleague Chris took me for a ride in this brand new 8 Series BMW. I was super excited, and that was part of my onboarding actually. And he explained in this car all the features and the digital services to me. He explained the digital functionalities, the displays, and the head units, and everything I needed to know in order to be more or less prepared for my job. And then he also told me about one of BMW's future strategic initiatives, which is commerce in car. And he told me this one example, which turned out to be the project I was going to work on later. And he said, Sabrina, imagine you're driving home from work and you're stuck in your everyday evening traffic jam. I was like, yeah, that's true. And then your car recognizes that you're stuck in this traffic jam. And then your intelligent personal assistant, which is this lovely "Hey BMW" voice, suggests you to try out a feature that is called active cruise control. And active cruise control is a very nice feature because what it does, it automatically stops and speeds up your car while it measures the distance to the car in front of you, which comes in very handy, especially if you are stuck in a traffic jam. So it cannot really relieve you from the pain of losing time, but at least it can make your ride a little bit more comfortable. So you're suggested to try out this new feature. And all you have to do in order to do so is saying, yes, please activate. And then you can try it out for, let's say, the next 2 hours for a 2-year trial fee. And in the background, the payment is done, the feature is instantly activated in your car, and you can immediately use it. And when I heard that, I was like, yeah, that's a great feature, and everyone should have the possibility to get the suggestion of features that come in very handy right in the moment when you need them. So I looked at Chris, and he looked at me, and he had this question mark above his head, and then what followed was this. And there was a list of all the teams and the systems that are actually involved and needed in order to bring such a user experience to life. So when I thought about that for a little moment, I very quickly realized that's not my comfort zone anymore. Before I joined this corporate group world, I worked in a pure digital environment. I was used to work with websites and native applications. And I was used to work with a build, measure, learn approach with a fail fast, succeed faster mentality. I was used to build MVPs, A/B testings, and we had this continuous deployment. And now I found myself in this 100-year-old organization that is building cars. And I realized, yeah, this is hell damn complex. This is not building websites anymore. This is building cars. And there's no feature toggle that I can just turn on and off in case if something is going wrong. If I mess up, I can bring my customers in serious trouble. Would you like to drive with a car on a German autobahn with more than 200 kilometers per hour, knowing it was built by a product manager who had a fail fast mentality? I don't think so, right? So still, when I was asked to lead this initiative of commerce in car, I was like, yeah, that's great stuff. I want to do this. So even though challenge accepted. And at the same time, I knew my road was going to be bumpy. So as product managers, we are all facing situations in which we have to share a product vision with others in order to get them on board, to get their buy-in. Remember the list I showed you with all the teams that are needed for this customer experience. And we need to get on track very fast in case we are maybe changing a team or you change a product. And last but not least, you need to get an understanding of your customer needs in order to build something very valuable for them. And also I was facing those challenges when I was new to this organization and new to this project. And I would like to share with you how I tackled those challenges. How to make a vision visible. Again, remember all the teams that are needed for my traffic jam example. You can only build those things with a great team. So in my case, I had a dozen of teams, and all of them had their own product owner, they have their own development teams, they have their own backlogs and their own roadmap. So how do you ensure that everyone goes into the same direction when all of them have a different map? Well, what I found out, it's pretty easy. You just need one destination. You need all of them to know where they're heading to, and this is one shared vision for everyone to get their buy-in, to get them on board, and to make them understand, like, what is the whole picture, what you envision. And it didn't really take long until the first bum was showing up on my road. And it was when my manager came to me and she said, well, there's this quarterly resource planning, and I needed to make sure to allocate some resources of all of those teams to this project. And I didn't have much time. And something I would have usually done in the past is maybe this. I would have created 30 slides to bring more than 20 people for 4 hours together in one room until there's 0 oxygen left, and this is what you call PowerPoint death. And I knew, okay, this is not going to work for me. Too many teams, they're globally spread. I had one whole vision to share in very little time. So what are we going to do? So together with my team, we were thinking, how can we approach that? And we ended up doing this. We created 0 slides. We still reached those 20 people within just 3 minutes with one click, and we got 100% of their attention. So what did we do? And we were thinking about that, what we can do instead. And we came up with movies, because everyone likes movies. So what we did, we created a little video. And this video basically consists of 2 parts. In one part, we scribbled a part of the customer journey that we envisioned. And on the other part, we played a scene out of the customer journey by ourselves. And in that way, we were able to make this vision visible. And unfortunately, I couldn't bring the second part with me because it contained some confidential information, but I brought an extract of the first part with me. And all we needed in order to do something like this is a pen, a paper, a mobile phone, and 2 people. One holding the mobile phone and the other one scribbling. And it didn't take us more than a couple of hours to do that. And what we did here was really just scribble down some parts of the customer vision. And you can even make it a bit nicer if you put some nice music behind it, what we actually also did. I just muted it for now. But you can even do that, and then it's even more entertaining. So what are the benefits of videos here? Videos are able to share a big vision and a big picture with your whole audience, and at the same time giving all of those teams the context within this whole customer journey, and make sure that they know why they, in particular, are important to this complete journey. And then videos get our attention. We want to watch them because you don't know what's coming up next. They're entertaining, and they're super easy to digest. And at the end of the day, you save time. And you do not save just the time of your audience because they just watch your video for 3 minutes. You even save your own time, because you share a vision with the whole audience without saying a single word yourself, without even being present. Isn't that great? So in that way, we were able to make this vision visible and have the buy-in that we needed without having all of these rounds of discussions. So if you need to share a vision with a broad audience, people that are maybe spread around the globe, I can tell you, okay, try to extract the most important message, make it simple as possible, easy to digest, and then bring it to life. Try to make the people see what you envision. So for me, that turned out to be a very good way to get the buy-in. So now, yeah, this resource planning was coming up, and lucky me, I got the buy-in I needed. But the next hurdle I had to take, I needed to get on track. I was new to this organization, I was new to BMW, and I needed to bring my project to speed up. So again, for me, coming from a pure digital environment, that meant that I was not only new to this organization, but I was new to a complete different culture. And on top of that, again, I was not longer building websites or native applications anymore. I was now dealing with cars. So I thought, okay, I have to understand this whole new world in a very short time, right? Well, do I? We are all product managers, and product managers are generalists. We are generalists in a world full of specialists. So what do you do if you want to climb a mountain and you don't know how? Well, sure, you find someone who does know. You find a specialist who has the tools, the equipment, and all the experience that is needed in order to bring you all the way up to the mountain. So when I started my journey, I knew, okay, there was going to be roadblocks and there are shortcuts. And again, I was super lucky and the happiest girl when I met Michael. Michael was in our tech team at this time, and he was able to be my co-pilot along my way. He was able to show me how to avoid these roadblocks and how to take the shortcuts. So when you need to gain speed because you're new to an organization or to a project, or you have a new product that you're now responsible of, just find your co-pilot and become friends. Make him your companion along the way. So for me, Michael was the best call because he was not only a specialist in his field of engineering, which came in very handy for me, but he was also with the company for already a long, long time. He knew the history of the company. He knew why things are as they are sometimes, and things seem to be odd to you sometimes, but he could explain me why it is like that, and then you get a better feeling for that. And he also knew the tricks and the tweaks to go around certain processes and to deal with certain people. And he knew also a lot of people. He had an established network. He was able to introduce me to the right people that I needed in order to push my project forward. And one good thing I had in common with Michael was even that we shared the same mindset. He was not one of those people, you know, in these huge and big organizations, people sometimes have those blinders on and they just have a certain direction. But he was luckily a little bit different. And we shared the same mindset of challenging the status quo. So without Michael, I'm pretty sure it would have taken me months in order to build up a network. I would have maybe built solutions that are either already in place or that other teams are already working on. And I'm pretty sure it would have taken me much longer to evolve in this new organization. So if you are new to an organization, a project, a company, if you've changed your field of expertise from tech to product, from UX to data science, from marketing to product, whatever it is, it doesn't matter if you find the shortcut. Grab a co-pilot, someone who has gone down the road before you and can help you along the way, and do not hesitate to ask questions. It will make your ride a little bit more comfortable and much smoother and after all quicker. At least that was something that helped me a lot in order to get on track very fast, but also to push my project forward. But I had one last hurdle to take. Last but not least, our beloved customers. So we all want to gain a very good understanding of our customer needs, right? But again, I was facing another challenge here. There was not much data available yet on commerce in car. And I needed to gain this understanding of drivers who would possibly buy a product straight out of a car. So I thought, okay, before I ask a research agency to gain insights for me and conduct interviews or something like that, I wanted to gain a very brief understanding of my customer. And in order to do so, I used the trinity of customer centricity, which is a very simple way that focuses on the head, the heart, and the hand of your customer. And for me, or the goal to using this method was to get really a rough sketch of your customer needs, and I used this as a starting point to go from there. So to each of those points, there are two sides, an observable one and a hidden one. The observable part is, of course, everything that is obvious that your customer directly tells you. Whereas the hidden part is, yeah, of course, the more tricky one because it's obviously hidden and lying underneath the obvious. So for the head, that means I was looking at the data I had and tried to extract what are my customers really saying and what are they thinking. And in order to do so, you can use customer voice, reviews, or just go out on the street and talk to your customers yourself. And then on the other hand, try to read between the lines and extract what they were actually thinking. So thinking back of the traffic jam example and commerce in car, I found out that my customers apparently do not fully equip their cars just because they do not use all of these features they are buying. So instead, they wanted to have something like a pay-per-use model. They just wanted to pay for certain features when they need it. And then I was going to the next step, which is the heart. And the heart deals with the expressions and the emotions of your customers. And here you can look at the body language, facial expressions, and the tone of voice. Listen or look very well on the words your customer is saying. I love, I hate. Every time when I do this and that, I feel like something. And then again, on the other hand, try to get underneath those emotions. What are the drivers for those emotions? Emotions are driven by experiences and beliefs and motivations. And sometimes it's a totally different story talking to a young mother compared to a 20-year-old student. And the same was true for me. So I found out, okay, a lot of my customers hate it when they have to log in with their credentials in the car in order to buy something. What they actually wanted was more something they were already used from their mobile phones. So purchases should be as smart and easy and fast as they were used from the mobile phones. And then last but not least, hand. Hand is dealing with actions and aspirations. So here you can look and listen to what your customers are doing. Which tools are they using? How do they deal with certain situations? And then on the other hand, workarounds and aspirations. Is what they are doing really what they aspire to achieve? So I found out that a lot of my customers were clicking through the menu in the car to find out what their car can do for them and which features it has. But actually, they wanted to be informed proactively if there's a feature that is useful for them in a certain situation, which makes sense. But of course, this is nothing they tell you like right away. So for me, it was very helpful to get this very first understanding of my customer needs by identifying the essentials that are important to them, considering the head, the heart, and the hand, and then I eliminated all the rest. And I used this really as a starting point. I used this as input for other methodologies like personas, jobs to be done, or pain points. And also you can see whether these findings are enough and sufficient already, or whether there's anything where you need probably more research. So for me, this really turned out to be the best way to get a rough and brief understanding of who I'm dealing with in a very easy and simple way. So now I would like you to think about what you heard in the very beginning. We were talking about how to make a vision visible. We were talking about how to gain speed in a new organization or a new project with a co-pilot on your side, and how to extract and focus on the essentials of your customer needs as a starting point. And if there's one thing I would like you to remember out of this talk today from me, is really simplify as much as possible, whatever you do. So to bring it back to all of us, we are all facing those situations where we have twisty roads ahead of us with tricky windings and bumps ahead. And sometimes we are aware of them, and sometimes we are not. Sometimes we maneuver ourselves into them. And then sometimes we just lose grip and start to drift. But that's not bad. It's not the end of the world. If you know your destination, if you have a map with you, so if you have a clear vision, and if you have a co-pilot on your side, someone who has walked down the road before you and helps you to be empowered, and if you keep focus on the really essentials of your customers, then there is nothing that should hold you back. So pedal to the metal and enjoy your ride. Thank you very much.